Hello, Valley Sports Academy fans. Welcome to the Unfiltered Game Plan. This is episode 1 of season 3. So we're doing it a little bit differently. This one we are live streaming it. So no second takes, no nothing. If we mess up, I guess it's all on camera.
It's all on camera. There's no going back now. We want to thank Mauer Sperry, our media sponsor, for heading into season 3 with us. And Chase and I have some topics, but if you want to put some comments or a question in the feed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as long as they're, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we season 3, we want to get a little more unfiltered. We're not sure what that means, but stay tuned for that.
We've been a little filtered for the first
little filtered. We're going to get a little unfiltered here. So season 3, that's pretty cool. I've got some numbers.
Let's hear them.
So about 48 episodes.
Perfect.
Wow. Thanks to the listeners out there. And we plan to do a little more, maybe some video or live this year to mix it up. This is the first one of that. And then we've had 118 hours so far of people listening to this podcast this past year.
That's a lot of hours.
118 hours. So those of you that have listened in your cars, at home, thank you so much for that. And this is the internet, so it's forever. So we're out there. But Chase and I talked, and we did a little prep production meeting, and we are going to talk about our top episodes.
Yeah.
That we have, we want to share. We haven't shared those together, so it'll be interesting to see if we have the same ones. But why don't you start with, 2 years, what's one of your top episodes that, looking back, and you can go back and listen to these on our website and on Spotify.
Yeah, so I just did from season 2.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so I don't necessarily have, these are kind of like a top 3. The hard part is I enjoy every episode we record because I think there's so much value in philosophies, thought process that gets brought up in everyone, with whether it's just you and I or the guests that we bring in.
Right.
But one of my favorite ones was just recording at the state fair.
Yeah. Okay.
It wasn't so much what we talked about, but it's just, and there's a reason. I had a meeting last Friday talking about, what is VSA about? And we really do want to be better at being a community involved organization. So we had a booth at the fair and just getting ingrained into our community, because ultimately our community is what's going to help this place move forward.
Absolutely.
So that was one of my favorite episodes, just because we were out in the community and it was just something different and it was fun. I just think there's so much beauty in a fair.
I know, and it's fun. Yeah, like you said, that was my number 2. So we already have one that...
Mine aren't really ranked, though, so...
As
long as they overlap, then it's kind of...
I had the same one, not ranked number 2. All right, I'll share my other one. 2 hot dogs and a Mountain Dew.
Oh, my God.
And the reason why I love that one is because we asked this young baseball player if they have any pregame meals or anything they're superstitious about, and right away this young individual athlete said, I usually have 2 hot dogs and a Mountain Dew. And I just thought, for some reason, that resonated with me because, A, I love hot dogs. I mean, the good ones. And I used to be addicted to Mountain Dew when I was a kid. So for me, and that was actually one of our top streamed podcast episodes.
Yeah.
So it was just a fun one with that 14U baseball team, the Guardians team. So that was one that stuck out in my mind besides the State Fair one. And then I have another one. But what's your other one?
Yeah, so my other one was reflecting on 3 years of VSA being open.
Yeah.
The reason I like that is just, I think we're always so, and I think it's just human nature, you're always looking for the next thing. Like you're always looking ahead. And when we have those conversations where it's reflecting on what we've done, for me, it's a time to kind of sit back and, in this industry, you're always dealing with something. A coach calls in sick, you got to deal with, you double book something, or there wasn't something on the schedule that should be on the schedule, or dealing with parents who are angry, where you deal with a lot of negative. And sometimes I don't take enough time to sit back and think about all the good that we've done and all the good that we've brought to this area. And don't get me wrong, we're not perfect, and we need to keep getting better ourselves, and that's something we preach every day. Just same thing we do to our athletes. Like, you got to grow, you got to learn, you got to develop. Well, we're trying to do that as an organization too. But it's just always fun to sit back and be like, you know what, we have done a lot of good things.
We have.
And it's not all bad.
Agreed. That's a hot take. I like that. That's a really good one. So yeah, reflect on the good stuff.
Yeah.
And all the good stuff that's coming, as long as we're here, we're going to, have our mission and purpose and hopefully enhance on it. So this one might throw you a little bit. I don't know. But we had an Olympian on here.
Oh,
I mean, you know what I mean? So that's a rare thing to have two-time Olympians. So I have JG, Jonathan Garcia. I just thought that was really neat to have someone of that, an athlete of that magnitude. Not that we haven't had pretty successful athletes. We had Nate Stanley, played pro football. We had, and some others, and have played at the pro level. And we have people that have played at the pro level on our staff here. But I just thought talking with Jonathan was interesting. And being Olympian is a very rare thing. So that episode, looking back at that, and that was probably in year one. But I was just looking back at all of them. So those are my, I guess, ones that stuck out. Yeah. They all organically have a, interesting thing.
The funny thing is, a lot of these episodes, when you bring on athletes, local business owners, whatever it is, everything kind of like ties together a little bit.
It does.
It's funny how life and sports really are two things that just work together. So I have two more. The other one is Fail Forward with Dumpster Dom.
Yeah.
That was a really good episode because failure is so important. The funny thing is, I just had a phone call this morning with a parent about areas that we need to improve.
Okay.
And I look at it as like, well, it's in the past. Like, obviously we've failed a little bit here, and obviously we need to get better, but that's the beauty of failing, is you can fail forward, make a correction, and make it better.
Yes.
And that episode with Dumpster Dom, I think, is really powerful, not just for athletes here. Like, that's powerful in life, in business, in everything that you do. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail, and that's a good thing, because if you can learn from it, you're going to be that much better as a coach, a person, a parent, whatever your role is in life, and the multiple roles that you might have in life.
So failure is a great teacher, to summarize what you're saying, and I agree. And the other thing is, you're not failing unless you're pushing the envelope. I mean, if you're out there pushing hard, your chances of success are probably tougher than you're probably going to fail. But that's okay. You can't be afraid of it. 100%. And I think that's what came out of that interview with Dumpster Dom, 715 Rentals, who also was our title sponsor for our golf outing, which we do here. You just can't be afraid of failure, because that'll lock you up.
Yeah.
That'll freeze you up. So that's a good one. What was your other one?
My other one was the episode with my Tier 1 team that I coached last year. Just because that was...
The hockey team?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
it was just...
hilarious.
The one thing that I think the episodes that we do with athletes, what it truly shows is that the kids are just having fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that's one thing, us as a staff, like, you hear negatives. Who do you usually hear negatives from? It's not the players.
Not usually the kids.
It's usually from parents and families, which, like I said, failure is a good thing, and you need to take that negative feedback and decide what to do with it. However, it's just it's moments like those that you truly like get the big picture. Like, it's not all about winning. It's not all about the training and development. It's the fact that these kids are creating experiences that they're going to remember forever. And I look at that Tier 1 team last year, and just we won a big showcase tournament. We got to, kids got to go to St. Louis and play. They got to go over to Michigan and play. They've got to experience. So we went down to South Bend, and they got to watch Notre Dame play. Got a tour of Notre Dame's campus. You know, like there's so many cool things and experiences these kids get through playing with VSA and our Guardians programs. That is it all perfect? No, but it's things they're going to remember for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, that experience is just so awesome. Even for an adult, let alone kids. I mean, you know, all of what you've described. So we are live. I don't know if anybody's watching. We have Abby, who's our producer, and we have five of you out there. Thank you. Don't leave quite yet, because Chase and I are going to talk about the past, present, and future of just youth athletics in general, and also like what we think of like where things are headed maybe in the future, but also like parent interaction. Mm-hmm. We're getting unfiltered, y'all, right? We're going to have a little bit of we're not going to be on much longer, but we're going to have a little bit of I can speak to the way past, because, you know, when I was born, they were inventing fire. So, you know, rubbing some sticks together and then fire popped up. But there's no question that the parents and the athletes, from when I was growing up in my, let's say, teen years into my college ages, it's way different.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I can give that perspective, and quite honestly, it's not better. I mean, from what I've seen, the athletes are stronger, better, and they're specializing more. But as far as like interaction with technology and parents helicoptering and expectations, it's gotten a little worse. I don't know if worse is the word, but let's just say it's different, and I don't know if it's necessarily positive.
Yeah.
So anyway, so a little bit of like my past, I can say it's polarizingly different than when I was.
I think if you look at like the evolution of youth sports, I think the biggest change is that youth sports, they've just became more professionalized.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a good way to put it.
And the way things are handled, the training regimens that kids are on, like the way athletes are expected to conduct themselves. Like the other thing is, you know, and I'm not that old, so let's just get that out of the way.
That's good. That's what makes this work well. Because,
yeah,
different perspectives of.
But like, I don't even see kids like I remember last year being in a hotel and seeing our kids still play knee hockey.
Yeah.
And that like warmed my heart.
Yeah.
I was like, that is so great that kids are still doing that.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like one thing that's missing in our modern day athlete is everything is so regimented, and that there always needs to be coaching. There always needs to be a tool being used of some sort. Like we treat athletes like they're youth athletes like they're pros, but sometimes the best thing for an athlete is get a group of your friends together, hop on the diamond, and play baseball, softball.
Absolutely.
Go play wiffle ball. Or like if you're soccer players, like get your team together.
Yeah.
Just go throw a ball down, pick teams, and play. If you're hockey, like drop a puck center ice, throw your sticks to the side, mix up teams, and just play. Like I feel like that's what's missing a lot in athletes today is students of the game by learning, you know, because kids don't just like play backyard sports anymore. And where playing backyard sports, you learn a lot of IQ.
You do.
Just by doing.
Well, you also learn how to compete, and also deal with other individuals in like your neighborhood. Like, again, I grew up in a neighborhood where there was tons of we were athletes in this little horseshoe of a street, and there was probably 12, 13 kids within a 3-block radius, and we made up all these games and things. So I agree. It's changed. Present day now. I'm hoping that things stabilize. I'm hoping that there's a little more grace and kindness out there for the coaches and the kids. I'm hoping that there's downtime. I am seeing a little bit more of a push for multi-sport athletes now, where I think a couple of years ago we were getting into too much specialization, but now kids are playing. It's starting to turn a little where they're playing a couple of sports now. Not overlapping, different seasons, which is needed.
Yeah, so I kind of have... My philosophy on this is, I mean, VSA, we are a multi-sport training facility.
Yes.
Like there is a reason there is not just one single sport at VSA, because we wanted to provide an atmosphere where kids could play multiple sports
Yep.
and preach it. And we also have a rule where if there's a kid that plays 2 guardian sports and those practices overlap, because let's face it, there's only so much time in the day and there's only so many days in a week where things are going to overlap and you can't completely control everything. Our coaching staff cannot hold kids accountable for missing practice if they chose to go to a different guardian sport.
Correct.
Because at the end of the day, and then there's also the, like our baseball softball program, they're training now, but our games, like, we don't play until next spring and summer.
Yep.
So we're super diligent that, like, kids, if you're a football player, it's hockey season, like, those are your first sports.
Yes.
Your in-season sport comes first. This sport comes second. So my philosophy with multi-sport athletes is once you get to be like that 13, 14, start to figure out what sport do you really want.
Settle in.
Like, is there a sport that you really want to be successful in? Like, if you want to go play college, what sport do you want to go play college in? And maybe you put a little more time into that sport, but you should still play another sport, even if it's recreationally.
Yeah.
Maybe like,
totally.
For example, I was a hockey player and a golfer.
Yep.
Like that's what I played in high school. I put a lot more emphasis into my golf game, and hockey was kind of my recreation sport.
Sure.
So that's where
it.
I think if I could give like a tip once you start getting to be that 13, 14 is figure out what sport your child wants to pursue at a higher level and maybe invest a little more time into that and do the other one recreationally. So there's still multi-sport athletes, but don't burn your kids out at doing this at a super high level and this at a super high level and this at a super high level. Like, and it might change. Like when they're 13, if they're like, I want to be a softball player. Well, that girl might in 2 years be like, no, hockey's my sport. I want to do hockey.
Yeah, it happens.
Like soccer, like you might choose hockey at 13, and then when they're 16, they're like, I love soccer.
Right.
I want to play college soccer. Okay, well, you got to put in the work now towards soccer so you can get noticed, get recruited.
Okay, I love all that. So this is a public service announcement. So we're going to kind of kick into the future. But I've said this and I'll say it and I'll keep saying it. Decisions of sports being played, multi-sports being played, which teams to play on, how you want to, I'll say, develop your athlete. It starts at home. Mm-hmm. It doesn't start with us as coaches. It doesn't start with someone else. It starts with you parents and your family unit on any decision of whether you want to play AAA or just park and rec. If there's feedback that I can give to parents and players heading into the future of sports, those are your decisions. Mm-hmm. Don't try to deflect it to other people. When you are sitting at the dinner table with your athlete and they decide maybe they want to shift from hockey to softball or softball to soccer or whatever, those are your decisions. So getting a little unfiltered, right? Those are not. You might ask advice. We get asked advice all the time. Well, should little Jamie play this level, or should little Johnny play this level, or what if I have him play an age group up, or what? Again, we can recommend and we can be as realistic and objective as we can, but it starts there. And then own your decision. If you decide for your athlete to do a certain sport at a certain level, then own it.
Yeah.
And go through that development. And we get so emotional and knee-jerky, I think, as parents and families and even coaches, that we just want to change everything all the time. We want to shape-shift all the time.
Yeah.
And we want other people to give us advice, but then we don't take it. And it just, I don't know. So I'm hoping the future of youth sports and the future of everything is have more conversations, ask your athlete more questions, hone in on what they really want to do. Don't do what you want to do as parents. Hone in on your athlete, have conversations in the car, on the way home from games, whatever it takes. So I'm off my soapbox now. So anyway, got a couple minutes left. What do you think the future looks like with youth sports and athletes and families?
To be honest, I think it's going to get a little more difficult.
Okay.
I think specializations, I think specialization's here, and I don't think it's going to go away. I think with technology, I feel like there's more access to coaches than ever, but I think it's going to be rough for a few years, but as like we evolve, there's going to be more studies done. There's going to be more people talking about youth sports and the direction it's going. And I think it's going to get better in the sense of people having conversations. And I think the biggest thing that I always appreciate, like I appreciate hard conversations with families.
I think they need to be had too.
But I appreciate when families approach us, whether it's myself or our staff here, and just have conversations. Like, there's nothing wrong with being unhappy.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, it happens.
I think the biggest thing though is finding a mutual understanding of why. So if you're unhappy with your program, the team, the coach, whatever it is, when you set up a meeting, do it in a way of, hey, coach, I want to have a conversation with you. Here's what we would like to discuss, and set up that conversation. Then when you're in the conversation, ask why.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the question that people don't ask enough anymore. And I had a conversation with a parent yesterday, and this was their advice to me with things moving forward, is just hit on the why more. Why are you going to this tournament? Why are we doing things this way?
Good advice.
And if you're an athlete or a parent, like athletes, don't be afraid to ask your coach, like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Because if they don't have an answer, well, that tells you a lot about your coach, because there needs to be a why with everything we do. And that's the one thing, is like, have good conversations, heartfelt conversations, and come into these meetings with coaches, program administrators, whatever it is, and coaches to parents too. Like, if there's a parent that's bothering you or a player that's bothering you, have conversations with them and just say, like, hey, I can tell something's off here. Like, I just want to get a better understanding of why you're upset with your child's playing time or
whatever
this and this,
it is.
But ask the question why. And when you have these conversations, just be respectful and understand that, like, my biggest thing that I always like to remind our staff of here is that parents are like superheroes. I don't have a kid, I'll admit that, and I really don't plan on having kids for a while yet, because I watch what all these parents do, and it's unbelievable. Like, the fact that parents are able to work their jobs, get their kids from this to this, and not just one kid, but having multiple kids, and frankly, keeping a baby child alive scares me. Like, I don't know how you guys do that.
It's pretty scary.
Parents are superheroes, and so I try to remind our staff, like, parents are busy. They're gonna ask questions that seem like it's obvious. Like, don't you look at the schedule? Practice is in there. Like, what? But understand, parents are busy, and then parents to coaches and program administrators, understand those jobs are hard. Being a coach is very difficult, because you're managing emotions of your players, your families, other people within the program, the officials. Like, it's not an easy job. And then running a program is hard too, because you're dealing with all these. I think what we've lost as a society is just having heartfelt conversations and gaining understanding of where someone else is at, and it's parents, it's coaches, it's players. We all just want to go at people and just say, why, what? And not have like a heartfelt conversation. Like, here's how I feel. I just want to get a better understanding of where you're at and why. Okay, so good stuff. So we're going to wrap up the art of the conversation. Trust and believe in your coaches. Trust and believe in the families. Kind of like life lessons, but very true. Decisions start at home and then sprinkle out to the teams and coaches. And this has been fun. This is the first time we've really done like a truly live podcast taping. I hope we do more of these. We'd like to hear from you. If you thought this was a great format, please put comments in the section and give us feedback. Keep it real. Nothing too, we don't want to have to, no swearing, I guess. I don't know. But so go ahead. Let's take it home, Chase. Let's wrap up. I have a new idea. What is it? So one thing that people probably don't know about me, people who work here probably understand, I love quotes. Yes, you do. And I actually downloaded this new app, and it's called a motivational app. So every 2 hours, it pops a new quote up on my phone.
Share it.
So I was thinking for every episode we could end it with a quote.
Let's do it. I
So
love it.
today's quote that popped up on my phone is, "You are stronger than you think. You have gotten through every bad day in your life, and you are undefeated."
Nice.
Yeah,
You're saying
that's a
I'm
powerful
undefeated?
one. You're undefeated against
Living
every
in the
bad
Hall of
day
Fame?
in your life. Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
But no, ultimately, the way I want to wrap this up is have meaningful conversations.
Yes.
And just be heartfelt and sincere when you have those conversations. Nothing good happens out of a hostile environment.
True.
Parents, you are superheroes. The fact that you can do everything that you do amazes me to this day. Our coaches, you're all amazing, and we're all pulling the rope together to create a better experience for our athletes and players. And just, have meaningful conversations, and
so great.
Just don't be afraid to, the best question you can ask is why. And thank you all for listening and supporting VSA and everything that we do.